Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Season 3 of the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. I'm your host, Coach Kayla Smith, CEO of the Hormone Puzzle Society, a women's health hub for fertility, hormones, and pregnancy, an integrative, holistic nutritionist, doctor of natural medicine and training, creator of the Hormone Puzzle Method, an infertility warrior, two-time boy mom, and women's health expert. This podcast is for women struggling with infertility, painful periods, terrible PMS, or really just any symptoms of hormone imbalance that they are ready to eliminate for good. Tune in weekly as we interview amazing experts in the field of women's health, breaking down those hormone walls, nerding out on nutrition, and having way too much fun. Whether you're beginning your journey or you've been struggling for years, we're going to finally help you put those pieces of your hormone puzzle back together so that you can get pregnant and eliminate those pesky symptoms for good. Not to mention, stay pregnant, have a healthy super baby, and easy postpartum. Are you ready? This season is packed with even more expert guests, sharing groundbreaking knowledge, giving you that jolt of energy that you so desperately need, sending you lots of virtual hugs, and inspiring you to take your fertility into your own hands and make that baby. Thank you all so much for tuning in and being amazing listeners. So now let's get started on your road to transformation. On today's show, we have Fran Migliorati, who is a certified fertility mindset coach based in London, UK. Fran is an IVF twin mom and an ectopic pregnancy survivor. She offers one-on-one coaching and couples coaching programs and aims to help her clients navigate the ups and downs of their fertility journey with a focus on mind-body connection. Her methods include life coaching, mindset coaching, EFT, NLP, and Somatic Trauma Therapy. Today, we're talking all about mindset and why this is so important during the fertility journey and beyond. Now, let's welcome Fran to our show. Hey, Fran, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Kayla.
Yeah, I'm super excited to talk about mindset today. This is one we don't talk about a lot, so this will be good.
Yes, I'm excited too. I always like talking about it. So great opportunity to talk about mindset, raise awareness, and, hopefully help some people out there.
For sure. So let's dive into that. Tell us a little bit more about you and how you really started working with women's health and around mindset and fertility.
Yeah, sure. So, well, like many other fertility specialists and coaches, I have my own story and history with trying to conceive. And throughout my whole time of the trying to conceive period, I felt really lonely. So one of the things that I really kept saying to myself and my husband was, whenever I'm through this, because I know I will get through this, I will help others. So, and it was only when I already had, my daughters, I ended up doing IVF, having twins. And when they were 2 years old, I had an emotional, I would say breakdown, meltdown, or one of those times in your life when you just think something isn't right. I need to work on myself. I need to see what's happening. And by doing the work, I realized that it really started around my fertility struggles, my ectopic pregnancy, and then fertility treatments. So I realized a lot of the emotional roller coaster that I'd been through, I hadn't really processed any of that. And then I had a twin pregnancy, which was high risk. And then the twins arrived and it's all crazy. And
I can imagine.
And then 2 years down the line, that's really when I could mentally have that space for myself. So it took a bit of unraveling and a bit of work. And I think this sort of mindset work, I don't think it ever ends. I think we're always trying to improve and open up our perspectives around the world and everything that is happening around us. But definitely that time when my twin daughters were 2 and I went through that process, that's really what sparkled within me. And I decided to turn all the wounds I had inside of me into wisdom. So I wasn't a coach back then. I decided to get my certification. So I got a couple of certifications on life coaching. And then once I started my practice, I realized that trauma was a big part of the work that I was doing. So help my clients process trauma, either past trauma from previous experiences in their lives to trauma during their fertility struggles, losses, fertility treatments that didn't turn into a positive pregnancy. But that's when then I decided to specialize in trauma. So I am a trauma-informed fertility mindset coach.
I love that. And so many people don't realize that the fertility journey has a lot of trauma attached to it, from loss, from the waiting game, for, all of it. And so much of that it gets locked in our psyche and in our brains, and then our physical body starts to respond to it. So until you can release that and unblock some of this stuff, then it's always going to pop up. So it's so important. I think sometimes people kind of like roll their eyes when you start saying mindset, but there's science behind it. So yes. I'm glad we're talking about it.
Yes, exactly. And I don't think mindset is everything, but I think it's a huge part of dealing with any sort of any challenge in our lives. And fertility struggles, infertility with a diagnosis or without, is a challenge, but it's not the only one that we face in our lives normally in our lifetime. So it's all a part of that resilience, that a capacity or that skill of being able to bounce back and move on with your life. Because as you say, trauma is such a huge part of infertility, but that it doesn't really get noticed whilst we are in the middle of it.
Right.
Like what happened with me, it was, a couple of years down the line, but it will show up somehow in your life later on. And you will have to deal with it. So it will come as an illness or as an emotional breakdown like I had, but something will happen that trauma, that emotional roller coaster that wasn't processed will come up and sort of flare up in your life somehow.
For sure. And so that leads me to my next question. Why is this so important to really deal with that mindset piece when we're in the fertility journey, and then even beyond, like with what happened with you, once you've had your children, you're kind of through that fertility journey, but then the mindset piece is still so important. Can you talk on that for a minute?
Yeah, I think there are a couple of reasons. The first one, which is really where I see clients coming to me for help, is to improve your quality of life. So you're going through something really challenging in your life, which is infertility or trying to conceive, fertility treatments, and that kind of takes over your life, and suddenly you see yourself really not being able to do anything or think of anything else apart from that. So your mindset is really the combination of the thoughts you're having, the actions you're taking during the day. That then leads into how you feel, so your mood. And then your mood has an overall impact into your well-being and your health. So that's really where I would say, the mindset plays a huge role, is when you're talking about how can I improve how I feel, my overall well-being and my overall health. And I know for fertility specifically, it has a direct impact into their health, their hormonal levels, and how that will impact the quality of that egg or that sperm. So it's all linked to that. Let's improve your health. So that's one aspect of mindset. And then the other aspect of mindset that I think answers your question is the resilience part. So it's the part of being able to handle adversities, handle in a way that will impulse you into moving on in your life, but being resolved with whatever it is that happened for you. So I always say that actually the goal of my work isn't to get anyone pregnant. Like I can't do my magic and get people pregnant. I wish I could, but the getting pregnant is a result or is an outcome of you working on everything that I just said, your overall well-being and your health through mindset and your capacity to be resilient, to move on, to bounce back from what you are going through right now.
For sure. And, fertility is just another piece of our overall health. And so, like you said, it's kind of like an added bonus that we're getting pregnant because we're truly optimized in our health. And mindset is a big piece of that.
Absolutely.
And so can we talk a little bit about what happens in the brain? So, and I don't want to get too scientific. I know we're not scientists, but just briefly, kind of how our mindset starts in the brain and then how it affects us physically.
Yeah. So first of all, when mindset, we're really talking about our thoughts and what's happening for us in that moment. So that will lead into our actions, and that has an impact into how your brain will feel is that it is in survival mode. It is in protection mode. So, and here we're talking about negative mindset. So when we're talking about the negative self-talk, the doubts, so this negative mindset will impact your brain, its capacity to actually see through what's happening right now, see through that moment, and giving you the ability to react from a place of choice, from a place of these are my options, this is the choice I make out of my options, and then I'll move on. So you get stuck in that state of survival. And that's very much linked to your nervous system. So you say, I can't just what happens in the brain without talking about the nervous system, because it's all one thing. The way that your body responds, the way that your brain responds is based on the state that your nervous system is in. And when you are in that loop of negative thoughts, negative mindset, your nervous system can't really differentiate between, this is just a thought versus this is reality happening right now. It just responds to that thought, to that mindset. And it will respond as if that was a threat, because it is for the nervous system, for the brain, a threat, and it will protect you. So you will put you into a state of sympathetic, so the famous fight or flight, freeze mode, or a state of shutdown is really when you're in a dorsal state where you feel really disconnected from the world, really, really lonely. So these are two of the three pathways that your nervous system can go into, and that negative mindset will take you into those two. And the problem is that it deregulates basic functions. So it deregulate your digestive system. So that's when people start having digestive problems, your circulation, your breathing, your heart rate, and also your reproduction. So all your reproductive system is impacted by the state in which your nervous system is in.
For sure.
So that's why, as I say, it's not really a science. There's a lot of science and research behind it. But the impact of that negative mindset isn't just in that mood or that I'm not able to think positive, perception that people have around mindset, which is a myth, is not really right, but it has a direct impact into your body functions as well.
For sure. And what a lot of people don't realize as well is that being in that negative mindset loop your neurons of your brain will start to wire together. So you'll start to create your own reality. And it's almost like you're creating this program where you're just kind of like in, a habitual loop of this negativity. And then the symptoms start to pop up. The physical body starts to respond. Like what you said, your digestion starts to get impacted, your sleep, your fertility, all of it. So it's really kind of changing that mindset and unwiring those wires so that you're wiring them together in a positive way. So let's talk about that. How do we, so that was the negative piece. So what happens in our brain when we do have this positive mindset?
So the positive mindset is like the same way as the negative mindset, the patterns that you create, as you're saying, all around the neuroplasticity, the capacity that you have to learn, unlearn, and relearn patterns. It's very similar. So especially when we're talking about, the nervous system and addressing perhaps trauma. It's really important to create new experiences around an emotion or a feeling or something that happens within you, for you, be it physical or be emotional, to create new experiences around it. And that works in the same way as you just said, the creating the patterns for the loop of negative mindset. And I saw someone explaining it in this way, and I always use it when I'm explaining it to my clients. And I can't remember for the life of me who quoted this, but it's like when you see fresh snow on the slopes and there's someone coming down with a ski, and you see the new fresh pathway of a ski coming down on the fresh snow slope. That is how you create new pathways. And through the same path that you can see the ski, as if you imagine the ski coming down the slope, that's where your thoughts come in and out, up and down, from your body to your mind to body. Mm-hmm. And when you create new experiences, that's what you're doing. You create a brand new pathway of synapses that your neurons that happen in your brain, so that you can feel differently about that experience, or that you can deal with that similar situation in the future in a more positive way, positive or more comforting for you, if that's something you're trying to avoid. I'm conscious about using the word positive because it's not always positive. It's just better for you than it was in the past. And a very common example here that happens within session is when you're talking about triggers. So, for example, I often have clients who complain or who raise feeling triggered about a certain comment or a certain family member or a certain situation that they want to get past from, they want to move on from. And that's usually how we create that new pathway, or we create that new experience for them around that trigger, around that feeling. Once, we dig a bit deeper and we understand what actually the feeling is, where it's coming from, and then we reshape their narrative around that experience. And that totally changes for them, how they will deal with that situation, how they deal with the situation in the future. So I would say, it's the same as the negative loop that you are in, because it does happen so quickly in your subconscious level. Sometimes you're not even aware, but our brain has the same capacity for the positive. So we do the same thing, but with rewiring with a new experience, a positive one.
I love that. And I love that analogy. That makes so much sense. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this a lot. And that latest movie that he did, What the Bleep, it really showed a visual of exactly what you're talking about with the synapses and rewiring. And so I thought that was a really good point. So thank you for that. And so let's talk about what happens when you see a client start to change their mindset. What shifts do you start to see within them?
Well, everyone is different, but I think one of the common ones is the comments that I get is, I felt so much better this week, or I wasn't thinking about, this ultrasound or whatever it is that was bothering them so much this week. I was able to even do this. And then they say something that is really joyful, that brought them a lot of happiness within that week. So overall, I see an enhancement in their quality of life. So enhancing how they're able to live the now whilst still experiencing or going through the challenge of fertility struggles that they're going through. And also something else that I see is they start coming up with their own answers. So in a session, sometimes in the beginning when I'm still working with them, sometimes they get stuck in their own way of not being able to unravel what's happening for them. And as they start working on their mindset, they are much more able to do this on their own, which is really the ultimate goal. My work is not really to just be there for them all the time so that they need me, right. But quite the opposite, just so that they are able to be their own resource whenever they need, whenever they feel that they're getting to that loop, they're able to come out of it by themselves. That's for me is one of the most gratifying signs, results from my work.
For sure. For sure. And so when should we really start to seek help here? What stage of the fertility journey? I mean, I'm sure this is a silly question, but, when should we start thinking about mindset? When should we really start to work on some of this trauma?
Yes, I think everyone is so different that it's hard to put like a stage of their journey specifically. I like to say that whenever you feel like your emotions and your thoughts are getting out of control, and sometimes it may take you a few days to kind of notice that that is happening for you. And a good way to do this is just to track your thoughts for a day, a couple of days, and see where you are with them. And if you feel like it's getting too much, you're getting overwhelmed, because a challenge that I think we all have is sometimes we get so stressed for so long that we start living as if that was normal. Or be it stress, be it overwhelm, it can change the emotion. But if you've been in that same state for so long, you will feel like this is normal, that you don't need help. But it's not normal. It's just because you've been stuck in that state for so long that for you now it feels like it's the normal, because you can't even remember what it was in the past. So it's taking inventory of how you feel, how your thoughts are doing, is a good way to judge if you need help or if you don't need help. There is a time that I would say, everyone would benefit, which is whenever you had more than a couple of unsuccessful cycles, be it natural or especially with treatment, that you definitely benefit from a space where you can process what you went through. Because I myself have been there, and I know how hard it is when you have an unsuccessful cycle. All you want to do is just get on to the next one as fast as you can, because you so desperately want to get pregnant. But I would say having a space that you can process the past and the emotions that you probably didn't even have time to acknowledge yet will be so much more beneficial for you than just moving on and going to the next cycle. So if I have to pick a stage where I think, is really beneficial, I would say anyone who's had already a failed cycle.
For sure. And I find, what we're talking about here, if we've had a failed cycle, all the stress hormones have popped up and we're in kind of this fight or flight of this trauma and this negativity. And so jumping back in without, like you said, having some space to process it's going to make the next cycle probably just, turn out just as bad. So
yeah,
you definitely need that space to process.
That's definitely where I see most of my clients coming to me from that stage. I also have a lot of clients that come in when they're just about to start their first IVF cycle, because there's a lot of fear, maybe some limiting beliefs around fertility treatments or their IVF cycle. So that's the two stages where I see most of my clients coming in at.
For sure. So before we take a break, I would love to just hear, you have a really fun at-home mind-body tool that you wanted to share with us. So can you let us know what that is?
Yes, I think for anyone who is new to mind-body, I would say that the best place for you to start is a guided embodiment practice. That is like a minute, a 2-minute that you can really just tune in into your body and into how you feel. And I'd be happy to do it now with you, or do you want to do it at the end?
Yeah, we can do it now before we go on break, if that works for you.
Perfect. Yeah. So it's like a guided meditation, but what you're really looking at is to really, instead of just focusing on your breathing and your thoughts like a meditation would normally be, it's more focusing on how your body feels. So if you just get into a comfortable position, you can be sitting for this or laying down, And just take a couple of deep breaths. And if it feels safe for you, you can just close your eyes and start noticing your body right now. As you take a couple of deep breaths in, just notice if your body feels relaxed, if it feels tension anywhere. And then notice your thoughts, what kind of thoughts or beliefs arise for you. Are your thoughts jumping in and out, racing? And without judgment, just acknowledge what is. And then emotionally, just notice how you feel. What kind of emotions and feelings arise for you? And just notice them without any judgment. And then notice the quality of your energy right now. In your body, do you feel fatigue, relaxed? And your mind, do you feel on guard? Maybe you feel collapsed, overwhelmed. And moving on to your breathing, just notice how your breathing is doing right now. Are you breathing through your chest, your belly? Is the air coming in and out from your nose or your mouth? And just think about this experience right now, being in your body and where you are. Just explore what comes up for you and just stay with it. Just notice a part of your body where you can feel this experience. And don't overthink it. Just think about a part of your body where it feels good for you. And see if it feels right for you to place your hands on it. You can place your hands over whatever part of your body you feel like you're experiencing most right now. It could be your chest as you're breathing. It could be your legs if you're sitting down, resting your hands on your legs. And just breathe into the sensation of being where you are right now. And see if that changes how you feel. Maybe emotionally. Does it change how you feel emotionally? What is the sensation feeling for you? What do you feel? What is it trying to tell you? Is it trying to tell you to move or to do anything? What actions need to happen in response to your sensation right now? And just take a mental note of it. And finally, express appreciation for your body and your mind. They are there to protect and to support you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes.
That was amazing. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you. I was about to fall asleep. Your voice is so calming.
Oh no, this exercise is really an introduction to embodiment, where people can feel more connected to their body and start feeling sensations in their body. I think a lot of people struggle with that, with feeling their bodies, and that's a great step to, first of all, get in connection with your body, but also to allow yourself to have that time. Because if you say to yourself, can I give myself a couple of minutes to do this? You probably will make up something else to do,
right?
An excuse. So this is a great tool to have and to practice once a day.
I love that. Amazing. Well, we're going to take a short break. We're going to hear a word from our sponsors. We're going to come back in and dive into practical tips around optimizing our fertility, hormones, and mindset. So we'll be right back. Hey y'all, it's Coach Kayla here. I hope you are loving this episode as much as I am. We will be back in just a minute, but first, a word from our sponsors. Hey girl, hey! I am so excited to announce the release of my Puzzle Brew Fertility Tea and Yoni Steams. I have been using teas and Yoni Steams from other brands throughout my years in the fertility coaching space, and for women who have purchased my online programs and books. And I have seen amazing results as my clients are getting pregnant, having amazing cycles, eliminating their hormonal symptoms, and more. But I have always thought something was missing. I love herbs, and I wanted to create my own formula of fertility teas and steams that I know are going to not only taste amazing, but are going to work incredibly well for all of you who are struggling with these issues. Plant medicine is so very powerful, and I believe they were created for us by Mother Earth and God to give us everything we need to live a holistic and well-balanced life. These teas are going to not only taste amazing, but provide you with powerful plant medicine and be a great complement to your holistic lifestyle and are one more piece of your fertility and hormone puzzle. So check them out at CoachKayla.com to learn more and to purchase your teas and steams today. Hey Fran, welcome back.
No, thank you.
So let's talk practical tips. What are your top 5 tips for us?
Okay, top 5. I think the first one is check in on the basics. So this is where really I think a lot of people miss some steps. So the basics are, I have 4 core pillars for the basics, which is sleep, nutrition, movement, and social connection. So do a check-in on those and what is working for you, what can be improved, because those are the things that will directly impact how you feel. No matter what you're doing to improve your fertility, those 4 things are so core. So again, sleep, nutrition, movement, and social connection. This is number 1. And then number 2 is one that I think a lot of people bypass this is getting to know your neutral zone. So we know we were talking about the nervous system before and some of the states that you could be in, is knowing where is neutral for you. So what is your baseline? And for that, you really need to start with knowing 2 things. One is what supports you to connect you to your body. So, getting into the embodiment exercise that we just practiced is knowing what are the things that really make you feel your body in connection with your body. And it could be things like yoga practice, taking a walk outside in nature, being close with someone, like intimate with someone. And I mean, like a partner, a family member. Anything that makes you in connection, makes you connect to your body. And then the second one is what supports you in balancing your energy. So again, going back to that comment I made, that sometimes we're in such a state of stress or whatever it is, overwhelmed for so long that we feel like that's the normal without taking inventory of how we're doing and what could improve, what could change. So really going deep into those 2 things. So how can you connect more with your body and how can you balance your energy levels? And that's how you get to your neutral state, your baseline. From there, you will know what's missing or when you're out of your neutral zone, so that you can work and learn tools to bring you back to the neutral zone. I think when it comes to tips and tools and resources, there's so many out there, but unless you know your nervous system, you know where you are in the moment, what you need, you won't know necessarily what tools would be better for you in that moment. So that's my number 2. My number 3 is to work on, improve, or even start learning about and practicing self-compassion. Validating what you're going through right now. Fertility struggles are really hard, no matter where you are in your journey. If you so wanted that positive pregnancy test and you're not getting it, be it like 1 month, 2 months, 1 year or more, it's so hard. So validating that you are going through a life challenge, a huge life challenge that is perhaps one of your biggest one or the first one in your life. So validating where you are and being that person that holds yourself, holds your emotions, being really empathetic and compassionate to how you are right now, and really embracing how you feel right now. It's okay to not be okay right now. So that's number 3. Number 4 would be to make space for your emotions. So sometimes we have to bottle up of our emotions because of the societal context in which we are in that moment. But make space for your emotions, be it through journaling, having a safe space with a friend, a family member, or a practitioner like myself. Having that safe space for you to acknowledge what you're going through and release some of the emotional tension and blockages that happen day to day, day in and day out, are so important. So creating that space for you. And then the last one is limiting where you get information from. So, and sometimes people laugh at this one because they think, what are you talking about? Information overload is so stressful for our minds that people don't actually notice how stressed they are after just reading the news. Just listening to the news can be so stressful and triggering. So noticing where you get information from and how much time you spend on that, whatever channel it is that you're getting information from. So a reminder here that it includes social media, it includes news outlet, and includes Googling. So, I often say to my client, you have 1 hour a day to Google everything you want to Google, and then you don't Google anything more.
Right. I know that. Yeah.
So that's my 5th one.
I love that. Amazing tips. And yeah, I agree. We had to stop watching the news a few years ago when it just got so stressful and so crazy. I was like, I can't. My nervous system cannot handle this.
No, I'm with you. I'm the same.
So what do you say to somebody who wants to start meditating, but they've done it in the past and they don't like it? How do they really start to learn to love it and start to begin this practice?
Right. I don't know if people need to love it. Meditation is not for everyone, and there's so many kinds or types of meditation out there. But a great way to start, and to, even if you tried in the past and it didn't work, but a great way to get back into it and see if different modalities within meditation could work for you, is a guided meditation. And again, there's so many types out there, even within the guided meditation that I just said. But as short as you can, a 3-minute, a 5-minute max of a guided meditation that is more towards the relaxing, that wants to induce a relaxation response, would probably be the best place to start. There's a great type of, it's not necessarily a meditation, it's called yoga nidra. It's like a progressive muscle relaxation that you do, and there's so many videos on YouTube that you can listen to and start with. That is also a second tool for people that tried the guided meditation and it wasn't quite for them. Then I suggest the Yoga Nidra, because it's not so much of a meditation, but it has the same outcome of that relaxation response in your body that you want out of a guided meditation.
I love that. And I will say that I'm very type A. So I did not used to love meditation, but the more I learned how to do it and the more I practiced it, I learned to love it. And now I like crave it.
Yes.
So,
yes.
yeah.
That's great to hear. And I think with any practice, not just meditation, but you need to know what you want out of it. And I think that's where people get frustrated with meditation, because they go into one mindset thinking that they will be able to control their minds and just sit there and think of nothing, when that's not even actually what they need. They might just need something else. So yeah, I have to be honest, I'm not a great meditator. I only meditate if it's for relaxation.
For sure. Well,
Yeah.
I started doing something recently called Brain Tap. I don't know if you've heard of this.
Never heard of that. No.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing. So it was developed by this guy named Dr. Patrick Porter, and he's like a neuroscientist, PhD, all this stuff. But anyway, so it's this headset that you wear that has a guided meditation, but then it also has this thing that goes over your eyes, and it shows different patterns of light that's supposed to get into your brain neurons and starts to rewire them. So you're listening, you're watching. And I'll tell you, I lay down and put that thing on and I just love it. It's a great way to meditate.
Sounds incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool. So I think it's just like braintap.com. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. It's just a tool that I love. So
thank you for sharing. I'm definitely going to look it up.
For sure. So tell us where we can learn more about you. Where can we find you and learn more about your practice?
Sure. So I have a website, and it is Franmigliorati.com. And I'm also on social media. So Instagram at Fran_Migliorati. On Facebook, I have a page on Facebook. It's called Fran Migliorati Coaching. And people can just reach out. My email as well is in there. You can just send me a note via email or a message on any social media outlets, and I will get back to them.
I love that. And we'll have all that in the show notes. So it'll be really easy to find you and find all your socials. So thank you for that. Thank you. Yeah. And thank you so much for being here. It's been so fun getting to know you. So thank you for coming on. And before we close out, I would love any final thoughts, any words of encouragement or wisdom you want to leave us with.
Well, thank you so much for having me. And for anyone who is listening, I just want you to know that you are not alone, even though you may feel like you are. There's so many women and support groups out there for you that if you feel like you're feeling lonely and alone, please do reach out. There's so many resources out there for you. We're here for you.
For sure. Oh, I love it. Well, thank you again for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you, ladies, for listening to the Hormone P.U.Z.Z.L.E Podcast. Until next time. Bye. Hey, hang on just 1 second before you go. I want to make sure that you are aware of all of the amazing free resources that I have for you on my website at CoachKayla.com. From a fertility meal plan, a cycle syncing quick start guide, a holistic healing cookbook, as well as master classes, blog posts by me and some amazing experts in the fields of fertility, hormones, and nutrition. So many wonderful resources that will help you on your journey. And I wish there had been something like this when I was going through my 2 years of infertility, but there just wasn't. And so that's why I decided to create all of this for you. So make sure that you go and check it out and you take advantage of this plethora of support that I have provided for you. And spoiler alert, these were some of the same tricks and the same foods that I used to get myself pregnant, not once, but twice, even after my doctors said that I couldn't. So I know that these things work. So make sure you take advantage of that. and I cannot wait for you to be my next success story. So thanks, love. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in today to the Hormone Puzzle Podcast. Check out the show notes for today's episode at CoachKayla.com. If you like what you hear, please subscribe and leave a review. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll see you next week.